Hello and welcome to Hands-on Science, a website designed as a resource for upper elementary and middle level science teachers. Below you'll find numerous hands-on activities that will help you engage your students in the learning of science. The lessons are grouped by the Nebraska State Science Standards they fit into. Each video will give you the necessary background information you will need to implement this lesson in your classroom. In addition, each lesson also has a lesson plan, a PowerPoint, and a space for you to give me feedback about the lessons. Also, please feel free to contact me with any questions at dhenning@esu5.org. One quick note about the lessons themselves. I tried really very hard to cite the sources of my ideas for these lessons on a bibliography which you can find just below this video. However, as you well know, education is a very collaborative field. And so it was often hard to find the true source of these lessons because of all of the sharing that goes on between teachers. Also, it was sometimes difficult for me to remember where I heard or saw the original idea, as I'm always on the lookout for new and exciting ways to get kids involved in science. That said, please do not reference me as the source for any of these lessons, as I am sure they are all a conglomeration of others' ideas. But please do feel free to use any and all of the resources located on this page. Now, a word about the reason for teaching science using a hands-on approach. Science is really defined in many different ways. It's been called a way of thinking, a body of facts, a process. When we talk about science this year, we will include all three of those definitions. Science is a set of already proven facts, and it is important to understand many of these facts in order to meaningfully participate in the process of science. However, getting hung up on the memorization of facts often limits people's ability to think about things in a scientific way. To think scientifically requires only an open mind and a willingness to puzzle through the unknown. We all do this every day, and it is important to remember that this ability, the ability to look at a problem, apply our knowledge to it, and come up with a reasonable solution, is much more important than whether or not we know Newton's second law or are able to name the first 20 elements on a periodic table. It is also important to remember that this ability takes a lot of practice. So while we will be discussing scientific facts during our lessons, the purpose at the core of all of the lessons is to increase the participants' ability to navigate through new challenges creatively and effectively. Another very crucial thing to understand about science is that there are never any absolute truths. One of my favorite quotes about science comes from Eugenie Scott, and she wrote that science is truth without certainty. What we need to stress to our students is that in science, something is only true until proven otherwise. Pluto is a really great example of this. We once defined Pluto as a planet, but as new information was gathered, Pluto's status was reduced from a planet to an icy dwarf. That's how science works, and that is what makes science so powerful. As scientists, we always operate with a hint of skepticism. When we are skeptical of what is said to be known, we are driven to unlock mysteries that either change or deepen our understandings of the way things are. Again, the very nature of science, this lack of knowing that is at its core, should prevent us from teaching science in a way that requires students to produce the right answer. Instead, we must teach science in a way that allows students to question what is supposed true and encourages them to bring forth new and creative ways of understanding the world in which they live. Let this be our lofty goal as we move forward in the process of teaching kids about science. Again, I hope that you find this website useful as you look for ways to engage your students by using a hands-on approach to science education.